my mind. I'm silent in the night, I'm silent in the day. Looking back on the track, gonna do it my way. Outside in the night, I'm silent in the day. Looking back on the track, gonna do it my way. Look back. Looking for some happiness, but there is only loneliness to find. Turn to the left, turn to the right. Looking upstairs, looking behind. Yeah. Looking for some happiness, but there is only loneliness to find. Turn to the left, turn to the right. Looking upstairs, looking behind.
Yep.
We're live.
How's it going, everybody?
Good afternoon. Welcome to another Reservoir Slobs.
Yeah.
And we're one man down again.
Yep. It's been a hell of a few weeks where we just can't seem to all three be here and available at the same time due to illnesses and whatnot.
Yeah, it's just one of those weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
But we were planning on doing it out of suit stream.
Yeah.
Fuck, don't mind me, my brain is all over the place already.
And welcome, Bishop. Yes, Drunk Art needs to shut down the stream.
It's okay. He'll learn from streaming. I've had my drunk streams in the past.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. But yeah, I mean, we don't really have much to talk about that we want to talk about right now, because I want Rat to be here to talk about the movie, because
Yeah.
I fucking love Reanimator.
Yeah, that's our most recent watch. Starting off the month of Halloween, correct?
Yeah, so since we're kind of in the month of spooky, then what I think a good question is, what other horror media do we actually enjoy?
I'll be honest, I've read some pretty good web comics within the horror genre. Like,
Yep.
I don't really do horror movies or books so much. I mean, books are a little bit too slow paced to really get me, and movies tend to just go slasher and too quick. But web comics, I found, those can hit just right. One particular one I was fond of called Sweet Home out of South Korea.
Oh fuck! I think I've read that.
Possible. It was pretty popular. It's even got a Netflix adaptation, which was all right. They start changing it about halfway through, and I haven't finished it from that point because it's like, but sort of body horror / psychological horror.
Yes, that is correctly. Wait, is that the one that takes place in a apartment building?
Yep, they're all locked in, and everyone's
Yes.
like transforming into their deepest desire.
I think got like halfway through that, and man, it's really fucking good, and I just never kept up with it.
It's worth it. The writer for that also wrote another one that's really good called Bastard.
All right,
It follows a kid who's been forced his whole life to help his sociopathic serial killer father kidnap and kill women. And he falls in love with a girl and is trying to protect her from his father.
all right.
It's really dark and well written. Definitely American Psycho sort of horror.
You know what? That actually sounds like a very interesting comic. I might actually check that out. Like when it comes to comics wise, horror is web comics pulls it up like pretty good most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's something with that suspension that you get from just scrolling down. Like you're taking it and you have to have those fucking moments of waiting for what's next.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, everyone knows when it comes to comic book form, the best one is still Junji Ito.
Yeah, Junji Ito does amazing work in that
Yeah.
regard.
Uh,
I think the first horror comic I read was actually one of his. I
Ismaki.
stumbled across it in a thrift store that I was working at, and just like, oh, this is horrifying. I'm gonna take this home.
Which book was it?
I don't remember. It's out there in my garage.
Do you remember anything from it?
Not particularly. Like just the horror. It's his style of body horror. I remember that much.
Oh, okay. Well, then, if you just remember the style, then yeah, you have a whole fucking collection to choose from.
Yeah. And welcome, K-Shill.
Hey, welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I never really got through it at the time, but the art style stood out.
Oh yeah, like his style is, it's perfect as is. I don't have any flaws with it. If anything, it's his writing that is a little. It's not on point, but he makes up for it with his art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that was almost 2 decades ago now that I read that, so yeah, I don't remember much story-wise or what it was called, so
Which makes sense. Well, I guess that's a good leading to other media, because like one of the few horror games of recent years that did I did get into, but then it was snatched away from everyone. PT, which apparently Junji Ito was gonna work on.
Well, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
I had a few reservations about that, but some hope. I mean, I love Silent Hill,
Same.
but as much as like Guillermo del Toro, gonna be honest, what's his name? Kojima.
Kojima, yeah.
He has a bad habit of going off the rails on stuff.
Well, that's kind of why I wanted to see the horror aspect of it, because if you think Metal Gear was confusing, my god, what would happen if he went down the horror route?
The ghosts are definitely going to be anti-nuclear weapon.
Oh god, they're the fucking ghosts
A ghost.
of...
A ghost is a past Metal Gear.
Narrated by Norman Reedus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, again, yeah, I'm also a big fan of Silent Hill, like, up until 4. I thought Homecoming? No,
4 was the
Downpour.
room. After that was Homecoming, then Downpour, I believe.
Yeah, I didn't play Homecoming, but I played Downpour, and Downpour was not great, but it was
See,
fine.
I skipped Downpour. Homecoming was all right, but it really just felt like 2 again.
Yeah.
Just without the really good hooks.
Which knocks it down a lot of fucking pegs, really.
It was mediocre. I mean, it wasn't a bad one, but and I mean that's even coming from me. I'm kind of odd duck out. I really liked 4.
There were parts of that game that I really disliked.
There are parts that don't mix well.
The elevator.
Yeah, But there are some really, really good ideas, I think, in the overall. And that's what made me like it. Like, you've got your room as like your home base. But over time, it's becoming haunted and twisted too.
Yeah.
So much so that if you're not careful with actually cleansing it, it becomes a death trap for you.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't think I actually finished 4. I
Oh, I've done
finished
it. I
2
did a
and
couple of different
3.
playthroughs. There, the ending, the key thing to the ending are how much you purify your room before the end, and Eileen's health, and that determines what endings you get.
Oh. Okay. So there's like 9 endings?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I only know about like 2 of the endings, so I kind of need to
Yeah.
play through that one again at some point. And well, like, is there any games that like horror games that you have played that is underrated?
Um, Underrated, definitely. One of my all-time favorites. That's sort of, yeah, I'd put it fairly solidly in the horror category, a little bit more actiony, but it's Run Like Hell from
Oh,
PlayStation 2 era.
holy shit! I have not thought about that game in so many years.
Most people haven't. It stood out to a lot of people mostly because it like advertised Ball's energy drink in the game as a healing item, and then the soundtrack was mostly Breaking Benjamin.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, not sure how I feel about that.
It was actually some of their better work. Like I actually have the special edition that was released on the Xbox 360 with the soundtrack of a couple of their only for that game songs.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's just about the only thing from them I particularly like, but
Well, that's actually kind of understandable though. Like I'm not a biggest fan of Breaking Benjamin to begin with, but they have some really good fucking songs.
I couldn't even tell you the name of a song.
Neither do I, but I know there's a couple of songs that I do like of them because I don't remember the name. But yeah, like horror games that I've played that is underrated. Fatal Frame, the original.
Fatal Frame's a good one. They keep talking about either doing an HD remaster or a new one of that for
They are.
Western consoles. Are they finally doing it?
I think they are on Switch.
Okay, because I've been hearing about it for a decade easy. Of yeah, we're gonna do an HD remaster.
Yeah, they should. I'm guessing
Oh
there's
yeah,
some licensing issues since the first 3 games were on PlayStation. The 4th one was Wii U, and now Switch.
yeah. I've never played Fatal Frame, but I've always wanted to.
They're good. They're actually really fucking good.
Like,
And then
it's strange. I got into them because of tips and tricks, talking about tactics for taking care of the bosses.
oh really?
Mm-hmm. Used to have a subscription to that magazine for the cheat section in the back, but the articles on, dealing with bosses and stuff in other games that would be in the front were always fun to read through too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. Oh, sorry. I think another game that I played that isn't great, but I still enjoy it for a lot of wrong reasons is Splatterhouse.
Ah, Splatterhouse. That's a classic.
Oh no, not the classic.
The newest one?
The PlayStation 3 one.
I have not played that one.
It's not great, but it's exactly what you expect.
having played the original, I wouldn't even say that one's particularly great.
No, it's not, but that one at least has a certain charm to it with the
Yeah.
pixelated sprites and everything.
Hmm. Let's
Uh,
see. What else is there out there for underrated horror games?
Condemned. I know it's been
Condemned was
recommended
good.
by everybody, but it's still underrated because not enough people are talking about it. Which, oh
I
shit.
wish I could find my copy of Condemned Criminal Origins.
I do have a copy of Condemned too.
I've got a copy of Condemned 2. I had Condemned 1. It up and vanished, so I don't know where the fuck it's at.
I actually bought it on GOG because I
I had
wanted
it
to
on
have a
Xbox.
digital copy of it.
Yeah, I had it on 360.
Yeah.
Played the hell out of that. That was a good one. Actually, another one that's sort of underrated in the horror vein that been overlooked for a while was the original Prey.
Yes, it. I can kind of see why it got overlooked because it was in that certain computer era of System Shock. And anyone who has played System Shock can understand.
Well, I'm referring to the one that came out. Well, not the original, but the second one that came out on 360.
Oh. Okay, that you gotta be specific because there's like
Yeah.
three praise that
Yeah,
called
the
Prey.
newest one is all right. I wouldn't really classify it as horror, but
Yeah, and I would call it more science fiction.
it's more sci-fi action than anything. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
sci-fi
the
action.
concept of the mimics hiding in the environment is spooky, I guess, but
Yeah, I
you
guess
kind
so.
of get used to it.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. Uh, It's kind of like you're watching or playing fucking Dead Space. Like if
Mhm.
you're playing one game, you know exactly what to expect.
Yeah,
Those
that's why I feel
fucker.
like the I like the third game's playstyle the most, but Dead Space 3 goes too long, and by the end of it, you're not really being startled or scared of anything. You're just slightly annoyed at the hordes coming at you, and you just keep plowing through them.
True. Uh, I think I like the second one the best, but the third one wasn't that bad. But
I I think the biggest issue with the third one was pacing more than
yeah.
anything.
Which speaking of which, Fair,
Yeah,
the Fair 1, 2, and 3 all had pacing issues, especially 3.
3 especially. 2, that's the one I would say was the best of them, and
I
that's the
agree.
Fear 2 is exactly why I do not like crying little girls in video games. I remember that fucking bus.
Oh yeah. I can absolutely see why.
Like,
That
Phasmophobia has added crying little girls ghosts. And it's just like, ah, fuck that shit, man.
oh yeah, I can see why that would not be too appealing. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, that's at least the horror games that it comes to mind so far. There might be some I'm completely missing, but those are like really good to check out. I mean, horror games are very niche as well.
Yeah.
So like when you first find a good one, you kind of price it to heaven and back.
Yeah. I mean, I really wanted to like Alien
Isolation.
Isolation.
Mm-hmm.
And but I early on encountered a sort of issue with the AI that basically pinned me in a room for 4 hours, repeatedly dying.
Ah,
And I don't know, probably like the 20th, 30th time you have your face munched on by a xenomorph, the concept of it being scary has sort of flown out the window.
Yeah, yeah. I really like that game, but it's not like super scary.
Yeah,
So
I mean it was one of those that sort of and it did it really well, I'll admit, but it piggybacked off of was it Conviction?
Conviction.
Or what the hell is it? The one where you're the photojournalist in the asylum?
Oh, Outlast.
Outlast, yeah. Outlast started that whole trend of you can't really fight back against what's chasing you. Again, because Amnesia did it first.
Yeah, Amnesia did it first, and I would say it did it better.
I don't know. My experience with the first Amnesia game was 8 hours of me wandering around with nothing trying to kill me.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Well, okay, I can kind of see a little bit where you're coming from with that.
Like, I don't
Thinking
know
about it.
if it was just like the version was glitched or what was supposed to be chasing me was glitched. But I got lost, and I don't know, maybe just me stumbling around in a giant loop for so long trying to figure out what the fuck I was supposed to do. The monster forgot where I was too.
Possibly. I mean, the first playthrough of Amnesia is you like if you go in blind and haven't seen anything about it, I think the fucking water level is still it's still fucking chilling.
See, that's the one I got to, and nothing was happening.
Oh, oh, fuck you! You got the easy line.
And I went in blind, and it was just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Nothing is happening.
Yeah, like if anything, that game is one of those like one of the top ones to get the sound fucking like on point. Hey, Pinky.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's missing. We're down one rat today. We was down
Yeah.
one E-sub last time.
It's Rat's turn, and looks like he might have gotten some food poisoning. So,
And I got food poisoning yesterday, but I didn't have any effect of it, so I think he might have gotten it from me. Fucker. Yeah, so like horror games wise, yeah, there's a lot of good ones to choose from, but if you want to
yeah.
like fucking the ones that people don't really talk about, there's a handful.
Yeah, one I particularly like, and probably not everyone's cup of tea because it's more psychological than anything, is um um White Day, a labyrinth called School.
Uh,
Korean. Originally came out on the PlayStation overseas.
oh, I actually
Um,
not seen that.
yeah, it got a lot more popularity because Jacksepticeye did a playthrough of it back when his channel was just starting to grow in popularity, which is also where I found it. But there is actually a new re-release of it on like Steam and everything.
Oh, sure.
It apparently has a whole lot of different endings you can get based on who all you actually manage to save and whatnot through the game. But basically, you're in a school and like it's just that one day of the year where everything goes crazy. Like, see, White Day is sort of an inverse Valentine's Day over there. For those of you that don't know,
Yep.
where like girls give chocolate to their crushes. And you're there with a chick, and basically she goes missing while you're trying to figure out how to get out of the school because everything locks up.
Oh,
And then it just spirals from there.
okay. Does that does sound really fucking interesting. I might have to try that. You said it was on Steam, right?
Mm-hmm. And I believe there's a version on Steam. I know the PlayStation Store has one because I was looking at it the other day.
Okay. I might have to give that a try.
Now, it's a little bit more on the point and click side of things as far as horror goes with the puzzle solving.
Oh, okay, then that's right up my alley.
Yeah, and less on the whole combat. There is a little bit, and there are some sort of boss fights you have to do, but like one of the boss fights is an invisible maze on the top of the building. While it's raining, so you're having to use the water to figure out where the walls of the maze are, because walking into them kills you.
Oh, okay, that's actually a really neat concept when it comes to like game design.
Mm-hmm.
I actually can't think of any other games that have done that. At least not in the same sense.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely an interesting one.
yeah. I guess this is just gonna be the recommendation stream this time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess unless you have any other games that you want to recommend.
Mm. Offhand in the horror vein, um, nothing in particular really comes to mind. I mean, everything that's sort of a little bit less known right now is already getting like remakes, because you've got the remaster of Alan Wake coming out, which was sort of overlooked for a little while.
Yeah, that that one was really good actually.
Yeah, Alan Wake was pretty good. There was supposed to be a sequel, never got around to it. Maybe we will if the remaster gets
I mean,
popular.
there were a DLC,
Hmm.
the American something.
American Dream. There,
American Dream.
actually, I think there was two DLCs. Um, American Dream and something else, where he's basically trapped in the alternate dimension of a TV show.
Actually, I haven't played that, so that okay, you sold me.
Yeah, American Dream. It's a weird alternative one, following the sort of villainous alternate character that keeps cropping up with the um, fucking TV shows on the TVs as you go around the main game's levels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's told from that perspective. So I don't know about the other DLC. I don't really remember it too well. And I've never
Fair enough.
played either of them, just I saw them.
Oh, the first one, it had its ups and downs. But overall, it's a good fucking game.
Yeah. I'm glad to see it's getting a remaster. I mean, it had some interesting mechanics that never really got expounded upon.
Yeah, which makes
Uh,
sense. All
yeah.
right, well then, I guess we'll move into the main medium that we usually talk about:
Mhm.
movies. Since
Yep.
I can sit here and talk about horror movies for a good while, I guess we'll hear from you first because
Oh man, I could barely talk about horror movies. I don't really do horror movies. Not out of, fear or anything. It's just most of the time I get kind of bored with them. Like,
which makes sense. A lot of them can be a slog to get through, depending on what era as well.
mhm. Like there is sort of a classic tendency to eschew any in-depth storytelling to just go for slaughtering. I mean, that's why we've got the classic slaughter fest ones, all your slasher flicks.
Yeah,
Like, what the story with fucking Friday the 13th is almost non-existent in the first movie, or like they try to do one with what Jason X that fell through.
oh yeah, where he's in space. Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck. Actually, of the slasher films, like I think maybe Nightmare on Elm Street is the one that kind of had the most amount of story that went places.
Yeah.
Well,
Overall, it had the best overall. I'll give it that, when it actually stuck to the story.
so what you're saying is not Freddy's Revenge.
No. The movie that doesn't even refer to him as Freddy or involve any of the original characters for it to be a revenge. Doesn't
Oh,
even take place on the fucking right street, I don't believe.
well, there's a Elm Street on every street, as we learned in the last one.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, is there any horror films that stick out in your mind that really?
well, I mean, I've always been a big fan of John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, well, obviously.
I mean, if there's a horror movie you're going to get me to sit down and watch, it's going to be that every time. I mean, there are a few others, but most of the time, with the lack of any sort of character development or anything, I just kind of tune it out. But there are a few.
Okay.
John Carpenter's The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
I do like, from a cinematic point, I enjoy the early Halloween movies.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think the story's just fucking out there, but the actual cinematography and all, it makes it fun to watch.
See, so you finally come around a little bit to Halloween.
A little bit. I mean, I'd still say the first one doesn't really hold up over time as far as being a series starter, but
No, I think it
and
does. Like it sets up the Michael Myers perfectly as
I think the first half of the movie does. I think the second half of the movie is just like, what the fuck?
well, yeah. The second half is basically stop dropping the knife,
Hmm.
and that's about it.
And somehow Michael Myers is just impervious to everything and just keeps getting back up unexplainably.
Well, don't you know it's the Undertaker?
Yeah.
He just keeps getting back up.
Um, the trying to think if there's any other horror movies I've particularly liked over the years.
Shaun of the Dead.
And see, that's the thing with some movies like that. They technically verge into the horror side of things,
Horror comedy.
but I end up liking it more for the other aspects than for the horror. Like Shaun of the Dead, I enjoy it for the comedy.
Yeah.
Like I don't even view it as a horror movie in the least, zombies or not. Which I
Well,
have trouble viewing zombie movies as horror these days anyway.
that's why I want you to watch Cockneys versus Zombies. It's bordering on that comedy side of
Well,
yeah, like there's there's a lot of like the zombie genre tend to either fall into more drama based or comedy based.
yeah. Well, I mean, zombies as a villain classically aren't much of a threat. It's more of their numbers making life difficult. So your real villains tend to be the other survivors in that scenario.
Yes, and it's usually that conflict that does kind of run the story.
Yeah. So it sort of devolves from, a horror story where it's man versus man or monster to man versus elements and man.
Yeah.
So I I just have trouble viewing them as really being horror movies. Um I did like,
I mean, there's a couple of exceptions, I would say.
yeah. They're I enjoy them just rarely for that aspect. Um Another one I do tend to like is hey Hammy.
Oh,
Um
welcome.
oh, what the fuck is it? Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods, yes.
That was a very interesting take on the whole horror movie genre.
Yes.
And one I don't think got quite the attention it deserved.
Kinda, but kinda not.
Because like I'd heard about it, but I'd never really heard anyone rave about it. So I just sort of ignored it
Actually,
until I actually sat down to watch it last year.
when it came out, it was being talked about quite a bit. Because I can actually remember that, and I remember a lot of people liked it a lot. but because of the name of it, I keep mixing it up with the Cabin Fever.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that, which I don't know. That one didn't stick with me in the least.
Well, that's Eli Roth, so
Yeah. Like I remember sort of the plot of that, but the other movie that sort of blends in with for me as far as the actual scenes and stuff a little bit is Dreamcatcher,
yeah.
which that one I enjoy, though I would put it more under sci-fi than really horror, I guess.
Actually, I don't remember much from it. I know I've seen it multiple times.
It's one of my favorite movies. Like not all-time favorites, but it's in the top 50.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, it's got a great cast with Thomas Jane and Morgan Freeman.
All right. Uh, I mean, here's another thing. I know you're a big fan of Ash from
Yeah,
Evil
Evil
Dead.
Dead. Again, that's one I have a lot of trouble categorizing
The first
as
one.
horror. The first one is definitely horror.
Yeah.
But that's why you end up with the whole debate of which do you prefer more, one or two, because basically it's a retelling more than anything.
Or if you're one of those weird ones that prefer the 2013 Evil Dead. Oh, I'm
I know
sorry,
a lot of
the
people that
Evil Dead.
don't like that one, but
It was okay.
I kind of skipped it out of just sheer spite at remakes at that point in time because you just had the Thing remake right before it,
Yeah.
and that was fucking horrible. I'm still pissed about the whole fillings thing.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Because like Evil the Evil Dead remake, yeah, it came out at right as that fucking era where a lot of horror films got remade, like between 2009 and 2014. Oh, excuse me.
Mm.
So like you had the Stepfather remake, you had the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, Halloween, Friday the 13th, and I think there were like a fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake around that time as well. So all of those, yeah, most of them I actually skipped out on as well because they didn't look good.
Like the only other one in that group that I think anyone particularly liked would have been the Halloween remake. I knew a lot of people that were really into that because of Rob Zombie.
Okay, fine.
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
I didn't like it. I actually didn't, and I'm not the biggest fan of Rob Zombie's films to begin with. So I guess a little bit of a bias on my end.
I think I've only seen like one of his remakes.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
No,
13.
13, yeah.
Yeah. Because most people have either seen Halloween or House of the Thousand Corpses or 13. Because 13 came out as he was getting that notoriety for doing horror. Like, basically the resurgent, because the Halloween remakes that he did weren't really taking off to the point where they didn't continue with the third one.
And see, that's the thing. The people I knew that really liked Halloween were just really big Rob Zombie fans in general, and were big on like House of a Thousand Corpses and everything.
Yeah.
And I just kind of looked at it, I was like, this is just like nothing but slasher stuff. That usually doesn't really appeal to me either. Like, I've seen Hostel. It was okay.
Actually, Hostel 1 was... It's a interesting concept of teenagers going abroad.
The concept's okay. The shots are okay. I do remember some of the some of the gore from it, like
The
having to
torch.
snip his own eyeball off.
Yeah, the fire torch scene,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah,
yeah.
that.
Like there were some overall scenes, but
Yeah,
in general, like I couldn't tell you what the plot was or
cult.
anything. Yeah,
That it's it doesn't spell it out for you, which I appreciate. But it's also one of those films that I don't rewatch.
yeah. Um, and that sort of started off the whole gore fest thing where we got Saw from, which I
No,
like the first Saw, but
wrong order. Saw came first.
okay, they were pretty close. I remember that.
Yeah, it was like a year, either a year or two between them. Because Saw 1 was like 2002? No, 4? 2 or 4?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like I like the first one. I mean, you had Carrie Yules and everything, and
Yes. Yes, you did.
that focused more on the storytelling than the gore, and I appreciated that. So there was something to hook onto there. But then after that, Saw just kind of went downhill for me. Like I've seen some of the recent ones, and it's just like, really, this is what you're calling a trap? I think the last one I saw, there was a grain silo filling with grain and sharp fucking farm implements sliding down too.
That was Jigsaw. The the return of Saw films. That
Yeah,
was more or less it was filmed more like a fucking TV show. Like if like CBS or someone like that decided to make a horror, or I don't even know what to fucking call Saw films anymore. Like
yeah.
it's not a it's not a slasher, it's not a horror, bordering on torture porn.
Sort of. I mean, it sort of plays into the whole psychological drama part because we watched,
Thriller.
yeah, we watched Mindhunters,
Yes.
and that's pretty much the exact same line.
Yes, it is.
Except without Christian Slater getting hit with liquid nitrogen.
That's still fucking goofy to me.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, I mean, let's see. We're running low on time, so I guess I'll go just throw in a couple of movies that I enjoy in the horror genre. The entire Okay, this is gonna sound awful for anyone who has seen the later films, but the Juno franchise,
Mm.
as in The Grudge, The Ring, and all of those films, I do like them. The foreign ones, not the American ones, and they get stupid. They do get stupid. We have those. We have Basket Case, which is, my God, how do I even explain that? Conjoined twins get separated, and the other twin is mutated,
All right.
and it gets really weird, and the sequels gets even stranger. Let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, again, when we talk about movies like slipping into like borderline comedy, you have like
Yeah.
so many movies you can bring up, like fucking Deathgasm,
Yeah.
Tucker and Dale.
Yeah. And again, those they feel like they more have horror sprinkled on as a flavoring versus it being the meat, the primary part of the dish.
Yes, actually, it's more like this sauce on top of everything.
Yeah.
It's like just covering it with a little horror aspect of
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of horror comedies that I do enjoy. Like I said, Cockneys vs Zombies, Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
Mhm.
and then of course the fucking Chucky franchise, which I like. I know a lot
Okay,
of people
Chucky,
don't.
I will give Chucky the advantage of the fact that it is more of horror with overtime comedy sort of topping it.
Yes, it's kind of inverted. Like you
Yeah.
can't help but laugh at Chucky as a concept,
Yeah.
but it does it well enough that you can take it seriously.
Yeah, it's more in the vein of Reanimator where yeah, there's some dark humor involved, but it's still at its core technically a horror.
Yes, exactly. Uh, then you have like the George Romero zombie films. They are more like actual. Like some of the early ones are at least more like horror films with some drama on
Yeah.
the top of it. Not really funny at
I
all.
like where he went with the later ones in that. That actually sort of made the zombies themselves more of the enemy.
Yes, but at that point, it's more the zombies are the enemy of the human race, not necessarily just to a group of people fighting.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's the ticking time bomb under the table.
Yeah. It's almost like it's playing off the whole the concept of I Am Legend, which was already a thing back then because you originally you had Omega Man with Vincent Price
Yes,
for that movie style. So
yeah, which, yeah, that kind. There's some aspect to it that can be compared to that, but uh, depends on how you want to look at it.
yeah,
Then let's see what else. You have like fucking. If you want goofy horror ish, then Final Destination. Those got stupid.
yeah, they did. I do like the first and a little bit the second one.
Yeah, I think up to the third one for me. Then it got a little bit too dumb.
Yeah, those solidly fall within the category of you're just waiting to see how everyone dies.
Well, it's not the concept of a fucking slasher film though. You're just
Yeah,
waiting for the
well,
shitlings to get killed off.
yeah, well, I mean, that's how we viewed most of Nightmare on Elm Street too. It's like, okay, we're just here to see how people die, and if it's even got that, and
Yes.
some of them lack that quality even. So,
Well, that's kind of the appeal of slash films, I think, is the seeing how creative they can go about killing
yeah.
the shitty teenagers that acting like dipshits in a cabin or in on a
Well,
street.
see, and that's the ones that usually get me is they've gotten to the point where they're trying to be so roundabout with how they kill them that it's just not even. It's just too convoluted. Like I like the approach. Strangely enough, the other drama action we recently watched, Outrage, did it.
Yep, that's a good fucking example.
Yeah, yeah, it kept it quick and clean, but creative. Like I've even watched the next two movies, and there's a great scene where they kill somebody with a pitching machine.
Uh, what?
Yeah, pitching machine.
A pitching machine.
Yep.
Okay, that. Hmm. Okay, now I really want to watch those.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I can fucking see why.
But I think the key to the whole slasher formula is you've got to be creative, but it's got to be simple and clean still.
Yes, to a certain extent, yes.
No.
But then you have something like Stepfather, which the kills are kind of boring, but the only reason why it works is because of the person playing
Mm.
the killer.
Well, they kind of with that one set up the aftermath to make it more creative, I guess.
Yes.
Like you've got the opening shot where everything looks normal and it's all just him getting cleaned up. And then he walks downstairs and it's just like blood and bodies everywhere.
Yep. That honestly, that's a perfect way to set up a movie like that. I think that
Yeah.
it's. I would say it's one of the
Yeah.
top ones.
The way they go with it, it's almost like the kills themselves are nonchalant.
Which makes it a little bit more grounded, actually.
Yeah.
Which
I mean,
I appreciate.
not every movie can pull off. What was it? Was it Freddy versus Jason? I think. Where Jason like picks up the couple and then bends them in half in the mattress.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
I don't think there's a lot of films that can do that.
yeah,
Okay, I mean, since Rand is not here, I guess we can also bring up a Hellraiser, because he's a big fan of that.
yeah. I know he's probably not too thrilled with the upcoming stuff there.
There's a series coming out, isn't there?
Yeah, and ostensibly they're going to be making Pinhead a female.
All right, sure. I mean, I'm willing to give it a go. In the same way that I was willing to give Black Christmas a
Yeah.
chance, both the remakes.
I'll give it a chance, but if that first "we have such sights to show you" doesn't hit me right, fuck it.
That's what it fucking is up to. If they can pull that line off well, otherwise, nope.
Yeah, that's gonna be whether or not I'm willing to give the rest of it a chance.
That would be like if they decided to reboot Saw and they couldn't get the pitch of "I want to play a game," right?
Yeah, or imagine them trying to do Evil Dead without Ash to be sort of douchey and "Hail the King, baby."
Well, they did.
Well, they did, and I didn't watch it, so.
It was fun. Like, they took the concept of Evil Dead 1 and just put it with modern teenagers. And one of them
Well,
was
see,
a
that's
heroin
part of the
addict.
and see that's the issue. Part of Evil Dead is the character of Ashley J. Williams.
Yes. Honestly, I would kind of compare it more to Cabin Fever mixed with Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. It's still the Evil Dead. Like, you get the... you get some fucking terrifying visuals, which I can't hate. So,
Yeah. It's just with Evil Dead, you put Evil Dead on something. I'm turning up specifically to watch a one-handed nut job kill stuff with a sawed-off shotgun.
yes. That's why I watched the TV show.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, shit. Evil Dead wouldn't have been Evil Dead without Ash.
Nope. And so, I mean, you just can't have it without at least one groovy.
Hail to the king, baby. And swallow this.
Even funnier during the series.
Everyone should fucking watch Ash vs. Evil Dead. That's a good show.
Yeah. But I think that brings us to the end of our time.
Yeah. I don't think we have anything specific to promote.
No, you can catch us at the usual places. Blackout on his own occasional streams. Me and Rat over on Arcs and occasionally Blackout. And then Rat does side quest every Monday.
Sometimes Friday.
Sometimes Friday. And tune into Arcs stuff with Stress Test right after us.
Yeah, and I'm posting the link. There we go.
And I will get one to you as soon as I can, Pinky.
Right on. With that, do check out some of the recommendations we gave all of you. I have a lot more. I only got the 10-minute slot here to fill in with movies. So, honestly, I think we might do it like sometimes this month where we just sit down and talk more about just horror movies in general. I might even just occupy one of the streams on my own with you two
Probably.
and just talk, because I have a long list of horror films that I have watched. Didn't even get to talk about Puppet Master.
That one I do generally like. I've seen a few bits and pieces of Puppet Master here and there over the years. Overall, I like the idea.
Idea, fucking solid. Execution, uh,
That's a grab bag.
yes. And yeah, with that, I hope you all have a good rest of the week. And we'll see you all next week, hopefully.
Hopefully, with Rat. Or we'll probably talk about some more Reanimator stuff. In depth.
And probably talk about whatever movie we watch next week.
Probably be more Reanimator, because we've got 2 more of those plus Beyond on the list.
Yeah,
so.
From Beyond. Yeah, so that sounds like a decent time.
No. Hell, we might even tack in the 2017 Reanimator. I don't know.
Why?
There was a 2017 remake of Reanimator. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's any good or not.